Hello, everyone. Today, our lesson will be 4.4H for our math assignment. We're going to solve with fluency one-step problems involving division. So let's take a look at what we're going to be doing today. As you have probably used in your classroom a mnemonic device, we sometimes have the division steps in order so that we can remember them. And this one here is telling us that we're going to divide first, multiply, subtract, check it out, bring it down, and then repeat, or if there's no more, you have a remainder. And we sometimes use the device of, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers rapidly? And that's one way to help us remember what the steps are. So let's take a look at another set of steps that you could use to remember our division steps for the long division, and it would be, do monkeys smell bad? You first divide, and then you multiply, subtract, you bring it down, and then you check to see if you have a remainder. Now, there are different parts to a division problem. We want to know that the divisor, it's here in purple, is a number divided into another number. The number inside that little box is the dividend, a number that is to be divided by another number. The answer to a division problem is called a quotient, and they might ask you that in a question one day. They might say, what is the quotient? And you need to know what a quotient is. The quotient is the number that results from the division of one number by the other. And of course, you have a remainder. Many times the remainder might be 0, but you still want to put that R to let you know that you didn't have any left over after you separated them equally. So this is a good way to remember it. One way to check division is to do the inverse operation, which is multiplication, but we're going to just try to check our steps and see a different way to divide besides the traditional algorithm. All right, so let's take a look at what we have today. Click. Okay, there we go. Oop, too far. So this is the situation. The Dollar Tree had 2,356 pencils. They will sell a cup with 4 pencils in it for $1. How many cups with pencils can they make to sell? So the Dollar Tree has a situation here, and they have to first of all put it together and then try to put it out on the shelves to sell. So I would first do my problem solving model, because that will help me organize my thoughts, and it'll help me figure out what it is I have to do so that I can do it correctly. The A stands for analyze the problem. The P is for my plan, and the E is to evaluate it and justify it to see if it makes sense, if my answer makes sense. So let me analyze this problem. Well, first of all, Dollar Tree has lots of pencils. 2,000, over 2,000, that is a large number. So I know that this number is very large and that I'm going to separate them equally into the cups. So I'm thinking that my answer is going to be smaller than what the original number of pencils was. So I'm thinking division. Okay, so I analyzed it. Now I have to plan it out. What am I going to divide? Does it involve money? No, just a number of cups, but you know that each cup is $1, so it'll be the same answer. And this is what my setup will look like. Now, before you divide, and this is an order, before you divide, please write your multiples of the divisor that you're going to be dividing by. In this case, it's the 4. So I wrote my multiples of 4 from 4 times 0, 4 times 1, 4 times 2, 4 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6, all the way to 4 times 9. I don't want to put down 4 times 10 because that would be a 2-digit number. And up here in my answers, I'm only using 1-digit numbers. Okay, so there are my multiples of 4. And some kids make this into an input-output chart. One of my students named Alexa does it like that. Others put a rectangle all the way around it, and that's okay. Whatever works for you. But let's take a look at this division problem. So if I was to do the traditional algorithm, and I hope that this works because it's really hard to write with a mouse, I would first ask myself, well, what is 2 divided by 4, I know that it's going to be a 0, so I go on to the 23. So I put a 0 right here. And I ask myself, what's 23 divided by 4? And put a little multiplication sign there. And that is going to be, based on this, probably this 20. So it's going to be a 5. And 5 times 4 is a 20. Okay, let me try to write a 20. So then I subtract. I'm left with 3 of my flats. And then I bring down the 5, which is 5 of my rods. There we go. So then I take a look-see here and I see, well, what's 35 divided by 4? Look at my multiples. It looks like it's going to be this one. So that's going to be an 8. I'll put my 8 right here. Come on, 8. 8 times 4, it says 32 right there. So I'm going to subtract. This becomes a 3. I check it. Yep, it's less than that number. So I bring down the 6. 36 divided by 4. Ooh, my 36 is here, so that must be 4 times 9. I put my 9 here. 9 times 4, 36. This is my traditional algorithm for long division. And I have my answer, remainder 0. That's a 0 right there. Okay, whew, that looks a little messy. But if you were to look at this, if it was nice and neat, it would look like this. My answer is that the Dollar Tree can make 589 little cups with 4 pencils in each of them and then sell them for $1 each with no pencils left over, remainder 0. That was my plan. Now let me evaluate it. So how can I justify that this answer is correct? Well, one thing that I can do is that I can answer the question in a complete sentence. Whoopsie. Go back there. The question was, how many cups with pencils can they make to sell? And my answer in a complete sentence, the Dollar Tree can make 589 cups with pencils to sell. And I noticed that this answer is less than the total number of pencils that I had. So, and because I divided, I know that my answer is reasonable just because of that. Now, this is again, I've said it probably 3 times, this is a long division traditional algorithm, but what if you would like a different alternative, a different strategy for dividing? One thing you can do is the block method. And for the block method, you would take your excuse me, divisor and your dividend and put them here. Make your boxes, make your blocks. This block is for the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Beware, warning, place your numbers right on the edge of those block lines. That's going to be very helpful once we start dividing. You still need your multiples of 4, so they're right here. And I'm now going to start dividing using the block method. So I asked myself, if I have 2 blocks, which is 2,000, how many can I put in each of the 4 containers? And my answer is going to be 0. I can't. So I put a 0 here. I know that I'm multiplying. 0 times 4 is 0, and I put it here, and now I subtract. 2 minus 0 is 2. So I take this 2, which is the 2 big blocks, and I put them up here because I used to have 3 flats and now I have 23 flats. So I asked myself, what's 23 divided by 4? Looking at my multiples, it looks like 5. So I put a 5 right here. 5 times 4 is 20. 20. Subtract, I'm left with 3. 3 flats. That's a 3. So I take my 3 flats and I make them into rods and I put it right here. So now I have 35 rods. And what's 35 divided by 4? I'm looking here, it must be this one. So I'm gonna go with 8. 8 times 4, 32. That's a 3. Subtract, I'm left with 3 rods. So these 3 rods, I'm gonna break them up into units. So now I have 36 units. I look over here, 36 divided by 4 will be 9, and 9 times 4, it said was 36. So I subtract, and my answer is a 0. I have none left over, so my remainder is still 0. Now, As you can tell, my answer is still 589 cups to sell from the Dollar Tree. So my sentence is still going to work here. If it says how many cups with pencils can they make, the Dollar Tree can make 589 cups with pencils to sell. And this is a different way to divide. If I follow the steps correctly, if I write my multiples, and I will get the same answer that I had with my traditional algorithm. So you and your teacher decide which method is best for you whenever you're dividing, whenever you are separating equally. So I hope that you do very well on today's lesson and turn it into your teacher. Have a great day, Tigers.